Good afternoon. Today's fall floral is going to be the dahlia. So I'm mixing up a dark purple here. I've got alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, and just a little bit of green in that mix. I'm going to use my angular shader to work on the very messy, dense center of the dahlia. Working my way out, elongating those petals, making it a little bit lighter in places. That's good enough for that one. Thank you, Heather. Might dab in some saturated color in some places to make sure that that center looks darker than the outside petals. Plus you get such beautiful bleeds of color. I think I'm gonna try and do 3 staggered around here. Maybe this next one is just gonna lean a little bit more on the pink side. So adding in a little bit more alizarin crimson. Let's start it off a little lower. You can get such a nice point on this angular shader. So that's going to be my dense center. Drag out a few petal shapes. Removing a little bit more color and adding some longer petals. Disappearing underneath those. This is just one style of dahlia. I think that does a pretty good job giving the impression of a dahlia. Adding a bit more color in some places. All right, and one more. I'll do one pointing up maybe, and then a few buds or leaves. Hi, Asa. You're just starting out with watercolors. Any opinion on the Cotman paints? That's what I used for the first few months when I started painting with watercolors. I bought a few tubes. I still have permanent rows, and I still love it. It's pretty good paint. It's not super low quality. It's not chalky. You can get some really nice color mixes. I think they're fine for beginners and intermediates as well. I just made the switch over to mostly handmade paint, and I absolutely love using handmade paint. I got a whole palette next to me. They're just such dreamy colors. The two that I'm using right now, I've got Winsor and Newton Alizarin Crimson. It might actually be the Cotman line. And the ultramarine blue is My Merry Blue. Tanchi, you wish you could do watercolor but always get so impatient. Well, I don't really have patience for many layers to dry. So when I'm painting my florals, you'll notice I go very quickly. You can always do more than one painting at a time. I think that's a really good idea, especially if you feel like you're impatient. You can do a lot of little mini watercolor pieces, line them up, and if you're into abstracts, you can go through them really fast. It might challenge your brain in a way. Like add different mediums pretty quickly as you go through them. I've seen some artists do that and get some really interesting results. Okay. So for my third, let's see if I can get a different perspective. I don't know if that looks like a dahlia, but works for what I'm doing. Just trying to make it a little bit even. It's a little bit looser, more fun, I think. Fun petals there. Okay, I'm gonna add some stems, some leaves, maybe a few buds in places. It's just one style of dahlia. Vic, when I started painting, I said I was using Winsor and Newton Cotman, so tube paints. I really love them. You can see my messy palette here. I've got some paint from tubes. I love working on this palette. But like you, I didn't like pan so much. I had an art philosophy pastel set. I don't really paint with that often, but I do love my handmade pan set. These are really good. So if you haven't tried handmade watercolors, maybe get a dot card or a little sampler set. You can try really fun colors that you wouldn't get with a standard tube paint. So I don't know what brands you like or already have, but metallic watercolor is super fun to play around with. Other tips, like I mentioned to Tanchi, painting small. So having strips or little squares of watercolor paper, cut it up Use all your paper, use the back, so don't let any paper go to waste. Oh, see, that was my first brand. Winsor & Newton Cotman it's a good starting place for sure. Other tips, let's see. Try and practice as often as you can. So that means if you can find 10 minutes in your day, paint for 10 minutes. Some days are harder than others, so don't feel bad if you just can't get to it one day, right? You're not going to forget how to paint with watercolor if you miss a day. Practice by learning from others. I'd say that's a great thing to remember. You don't have to learn it all yourself. It is fun to learn yourself for sure. So if there's a certain subject that you really love painting, find others who do it, different styles, learn from them. Nature hippie, you love handmade paints and started with Cotman too. Yeah, right now I'm using my one Daniel Smith color, this undersea green. I actually got it because I loved another green that was from a handmade paint artist. This sea green, you could see that is very well used. And I loved it so much, but she said one of the pigments she has for it is being discontinued, but it's very similar to this Daniel Smith green. So I decided to buy this Daniel Smith green and give in, and I absolutely love it. So as for our tips for beginners, paint often, learn from others, paint small, use the good paper. If you have good paper that you're waiting for your skills to just magically develop to the point where you don't feel bad painting on it, try it. Vic, you really like florals, but also really like architectures. You're focusing on florals for now. Architecture. I don't think I have at the top of my mind artists who do urban sketches. There's Urban Anna on Instagram. I think she sells like coloring pages, and she's got something, maybe a Patron or something like that she teaches on. I don't know if she has a YouTube. The House Sketcher. Oh. I actually have someone who is looking for a house portrait to get done, so I'm going to ask around my friends on Instagram, find someone, because I'll try and do it, but there are people that dedicate their work to that, and so that might be a place to go. And thank you. I think I'm getting to the end of this one. You can see this was my only painting of the day after work painting. So I started here, shifted the color, got more loose. You can see I really like how this one turned out on that perspective. This was a bunch of dahlias for an upcoming challenge that I'm co-hosting over on Instagram, but I'll try and include some posts on here as well. Tracy and I are reinventing our Traces with Palacios every season. So we've been doing this for about 2 years. We'd like to pair flowers together and have you create something with those pairings. Yesterday I showed you chrysanthemums. So here they are, and I have a little bit more light here now, so you should be able to see the shine if you didn't catch it yesterday. Chrysanthemums will be one of our florals, as well dahlias, and we're going to be pairing them with pussy willow and billy buttons. That was the name that I was struggling to remember yesterday. So that's that very fluffy yellow ball of filler flower, basically. So I just wanted to warm up and practice those two flowers with you. I'll probably have a different style for chrysanthemums that I'll try and paint. Yes, Miss Mentally Unstable, they are watercolors. I did a very loose floral recently here, added some metallic. This was 2 days ago. I have to post this on YouTube. I post my replays. If you don't catch my lives, I post it to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Yes, and then I think tomorrow what I'll do is I'll paint this card. I still have to put this on a watercolor card for an order. I have a few holiday cards that I'm now finally done with, except for this one. This was a custom ask. So I might put some on my Etsy account. I've got a few florals ready to go there if anybody's interested in them. And then I might bundle some cards together and maybe like sets of 3. Could be, I haven't decided, like 3 sets of the same or 3 different designs together. Does anyone have preferences if they were looking to buy handmade holiday cards? Would you want all the same design or a set of different cards? I think I'm done with the dahlias, so I'll post that as a question to Instagram, I think. I'll ask people if they'd rather have all of the same cards when they're buying a set, or if they want 3 different designs. If you're watching this replay on YouTube, you can comment. I'd love to know your feedback as well. Thank you, Cadence. Or Candace, excuse me. Thank you. I'm so used to Cadence popping on here. Different designs on a card set. Okay, Courtney, I'll keep that one in mind. I know for myself, I kind of forget who got what year, and it's sometimes easier on my brain if everybody gets the same design in a year and then I switch the design for the next year. But that is definitely doable. A couple different designs in a card set. Thank you. The paper today was bow hung, and it left beautiful bleeds there. Nature Hippie, different is good. The same would be easier to make. Yeah, I've made them all, so yes, definitely your choice. If people are buying whatever is easiest for you guys, I can do. I've got like a couple of styles of wreaths, so maybe that would be nice to have like one of each style of wreath together, or one wreath, one bouquet, something like that. All right. There's still so many people on. Thank you for watching today. I hope you have a great day. I'll come back tomorrow and maybe work on a pairing. So either chrysanthemums and or dahlias and then a filler floral. Thank you, Miss Mentally Unstable. Hope to see you again soon. Bye, Nature Hippie. Bye, Asa. Thank you. Hope to see you again soon. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.